to be great, now it's not so great. But it's still pretty great. Reading. It used to have lights, then it didn't have lights. New, with LED lights. Pagoda. Did they really say that? They did not say that. Yeah, they did say that. That's what she said.
Hello and welcome to That's What She Said, our premiere episode. We are so glad you could join us. We're five fabulous, wonderful ladies talking about today's events, things that we like, and any opinions we happen to have. Everything flies around here depending on what catches our whim. We have a wonderful show today. We're going to talk about the best of 2011, what our delightful entertainment thoughts were, movies, plays, whatever strikes us, and then we will go on a special journey and discuss that, but we'll get to that later. And then maybe a round table or two about the effects of child parenting and education in childhood. Yes, development. Thank you, darling. And then at the end, we will have a musical guest, Spanky Burbank and the Nasal Mists. So we're all very excited about that. Don't forget, you can call in at 378-0426, that's in the 610, or if you want, Christina is on the Twitter, so you can tweet to @, she tweets to me, and she'll keep us updated if anything comes in. It's very exciting. I don't know how it works. It's magic, but...
I guess we're in between, huh?
Yes, you are in between. Oh, we love this. Yes, it's all magic. I don't know how it works. It's kind of like, well, baking or something like that. But anyway, through the air it flies. But let's introduce the ladies, shall we? To my left.
I am Sheila Harrington, and I'm very happy to be here. I hope you don't mind while I knit.
She's knitting my binky to keep me safe.
Okay, I'm Ellen Gallagher, and I hope you don't mind that I don't knit at all.
I'm Martha Richardson, and I knit, but I'm not knitting now. But I'm loving watching you knit, Sheila.
Thanks. And I am Christina Ferlazzo. I'm the one monitoring the quote-unquote tweeter, as Jane so kindly put it, and I'm thrilled to be here also.
And do you knit?
I do knit. She's my inspiration Yes. for this particular blanket.
Oh,
I prefer to call it niddling,
Welcome
but I
to
do.
our Tuesday evening knitting circle, except for Ellen. All right, then. Let's get to it. Christina,
Yes.
what were your favorite entertainment events for this year past?
Well, I really enjoyed the Bridesmaids movie.
Loved
if anyone
that.
has seen it,
So
I
loved it.
practically peed my pants through the entire movie.
Yes.
Melissa McCarthy, up and coming, hilarious. And reading the Hunger Games trilogy, read the whole thing, loved it. I think I read all 3 books in 2 days.
That has that Katniss Snimmerl or something in it, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. She meows a lot.
Oh, okay. Fabulous.
Those are
like to
probably
borrow
the 2
that.
things that stick out the most in 2011 for me. I see so many movies a year, I can't even remember half of them. Oh, Paranormal Activity 3. That was a big fan of that one.
I
Don't
can't
go
see
on
those,
opening night,
no.
though. Not good.
I can't even Netflix it. I'm so... Because I live alone, and I just... if I start to see the credits, and I think things are coming through the wall. It's very frightening to me. So, I won't be seeing that. Maybe you could accompany me.
I'll hold your hand.
And Sheila with the lovely blanket.
You can hold the blanket.
There we
You can
go.
put it over your face,
Ooh,
really.
ghosts.
And what's the film they've been advertising as being super scary? The Woman in Black, The Lady in Black?
Oh, the
I
woman,
just
the
read
woman in
that
black.
book.
Yes.
Did you? Is it super scary?
The book, yes.
They said
absolutely.
the movie is going to be an old-time, very
That's the one with
scary.
Daniel Radcliffe, right?
Harry Potter,
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yes.
I'm excited to see the movie, but I wanted to read the book first, and the book does not disappoint. It's
Okay.
very good.
I
Oh,
perhaps should
that's
read that.
wonderful. Huh.
Yes.
What, have you seen anything yet, though?
What have I seen? I enjoyed Midnight in Paris.
Yes.
Loved Midnight in Paris. Theater locally, Doubt, that Bruce McLean directed. The 2-man show at the Miller Center that Kirk Lawrence and Chuck Gallagher were wonderful. And we saw The Normal Heart on Broadway. I think the monologues that Joe Montello and Ellen Barkin did were the most powerful things I've ever seen on stage. Ellen Barkin's especially.
It's an amazing piece of theater.
It is. I didn't see it the first time, and it brought up all sorts of issues that we still need to deal with, and it was wonderfully done.
Yes, it's a shame that it's still as timely as it is.
Yes, and we forget that it is still very timely.
We do.
So yeah, that's what I've seen. What I read for pleasure, and I read for so much pleasure and escape that I could tell you no titles of books that I've read. Finish them and just sort of love reading them. And my daughter will say, "What are you reading?" And I'll go, "Well, I just finished this great book, and I have no idea what it was called."
That's how I am. I can't remember things either.
I had to give up reading. My eyes went, and I'm too vain to wear glasses. Even in the privacy of my own home, I know I'm wearing them, and I might see myself in the mirrors. I can't stand the thought of contacts and sticking my finger in my eye. But what I saw this year that I absolutely loved was that Melancholia with Kristen Dunst. It's about planets, smashing into planets. It's phenomenal, and it deals with a subject that I'm very familiar with, depression, and it deals very realistically with that. And if you haven't seen it, I hear it's coming into the Gallagher Works.
Yes.
Is that yes? And you should all go run and catch that. It's an amazing, amazing film. Also loved Hugo. I have a special place in my heart for Paris, and Hugo was just
Did you see Hugo?
magical.
You were going
No,
to see
no, you had
You
meant to.
missed Hugo.
I missed Hugo.
told me
and
I
you
tried
goodness.
several
See
times
it.
and
My-
missed it, and it's no longer.
Oh.
I guess I'm waiting for the DVD now.
By the way, I should put this down, but sippy cups, they're not for children anymore. Got to protect the lips. So,
I saw a movie very recently, a couple of weeks ago, that Christina hated and advised me not to see. The Devil Inside. I am a sucker for a very good scary movie, and it scared the pants off of me.
I fell
It
asleep
did.
in the movie theater for that movie. I
Did
literally
you?
fell asleep. Now, mind you, I worked third shift, and I had worked earlier in the day. I got done early in the morning, and then went to the movies later that day, and probably didn't sleep enough. But I fell asleep in my chair at the movie theater. I was not a fan at all. I was
you
bored
were
out of my
scared.
you
mind.
were the first person to say that they were actually scared.
I
think it
was
would be. I
terrified.
mean, the promos look very scary, and
They were, and I couldn't wait to see the movie. And
that nun with the big eyes going.
she was creepy. She was awful.
I don't know.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I love to be scared, and let's be honest, it does not take a lot to scare me. I am always scared, so.
You should watch. There's a very wonderful old movie called. Well, it's with George C. Scott called
That's
The
scary
Changeling.
already.
Oh, I'm excited.
And it's a wonderful sort of
I've heard
ghost
of that.
story. There's nothing gory. There's nothing. No big special effects things. It's a very psychological ghost story.
It was an
And
old movie,
it's
an old book
yes,
by Tom Tryon?
it's a different story
Is it a
though.
different
Yes,
one?
it also has Trish Van Devere in it.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's a if you. Just wait for the ball coming down the stairs. You'll just run from the room. So, Miss Gallagher.
I have to talk about some films that I think, well, not films, but roles that I think were overlooked. One of the films, actually, the actor was nominated for a Golden Globe Award, Brendan Gleeson, in The Guard. And the movie The Guard, which was here and was at the Gallagher Works, back in, I'm going to say October. It's now available on DVD, but it's a wonderful thriller, police, FBI, drug runners in Ireland. Put all of that together, and I only heard about a third of the dialogue each time, so I've had to see it 3 times. But Brendan Gleeson was just a wonderful role for him.
Well, he's a wonderful actor.
He is, yes. He's done a lot of Irish things, and this one was particularly good, and I would recommend that you would try to find it on DVD. And the other role that I think is kind of overlooked right now, even though he's been nominated for an Academy Award, is in My Week with Marilyn and Kenneth
I can't
Branagh.
wait to see that movie.
His playing Olivier is better than Olivier playing the role in the movie, because I've seen the movie of
I am dying
the
to see that
Prince and the
movie. I
Showgirl.
cannot wait.
And
You should see
Kenneth
that.
Branagh is just a wonderful portrayer of that particular role. So I would recommend those to anybody. And I'd also like to mention, since you brought up the Gallagher works, that almost everything, I think everything that has been nominated for awards this year is or will soon be in that two-block area around 2nd and Washington and Penn Streets, between the Gallagher Works, the IMAX Theater. They're all there. But we have the opportunities to see them all, and that's something people
It's
should
like
be
a
aware.
positive black hole of entertainment.
It is. It is. And I have to add the Miller Center there because they bring in
Well,
all the
indeed.
live things that are wonderful
Indeed.
too. So I think there have been a lot of highlights this year.
There have. It's been quite and more cerebral highlights than not just. I didn't get to see the Bridesmaids movie, but I do want to see that.
I have a DVD. You can borrow it.
Okay, fabulous.
Got it on Black Friday. Great deal.
Oh my goodness. So, how's that coming along?
It's coming. I'm working. It takes a while.
It is. Is there anything interesting coming up in to the Miller Center that you know of?
There will be, during late in the month of February, there is Ballet Hispanica, which is a wonderful dance performance, very different from what you usually think of as ballet. And so yes, that will be, I think, February 28th. They have their usual illustrated lecture series which is kind of travelogues coming up earlier in the month. They'll be going to Wales. So yes, some very nice things happening at the Miller Center.
You know what? It struck me. The thing I've missed so far this season, they do a wonderful thing at the IMAX Theater, the broadcasts from the Met. And if you haven't seen that, it's wonderful. It's a live broadcast of an opera from the Metropolitan Opera. And I was there once with Ellen, and just amazing to watch that. And
You have a better seat than anybody in the audience has. Of course, you're not seeing the live actors, but you do see them in a very different way. This past weekend, they did, or actually a week ago, they did The Enchanted Island, which is a pastiche. It's a combination of music from Vivaldi.
I love that with a little tonic.
Well, this one had plenty of tonic, lots of magic happening in it. And at one point, Placido Domingo was singing and he drooled. Now, the people in the audience wouldn't see that, but you do because you're right there focused on him. And then you saw him kind of... And he didn't miss a note. He didn't miss a note.
And thus,
Those
a
are the
new
things you'll
celebrity
never see.
craze is begun.
I'm totally okay with not seeing him drool, though. I would.
But you do see
No,
some
no,
of the
now
other
we'll have
things
everyone.
that are-
Well,
It
back to Kristen
happens,
Dunst. She'll be
doesn't
out there on the red carpet going,
Any of you who have been involved in theater know that it happens.
We saw a show with Stuart Granger and Rex Harrison right before they both died. Can't think of the name of it. We were in the second row, and as the curtain opens, the butler comes out to announce somebody's arrival, and as he opened his mouth and said the first word, he spit his teeth out.
I hate when that happens.
He just went on. I mean, we gasped, but he just, I'm not quite sure what happened to the teeth as they were lying there, but I thought it was rather
Picked them
good
up, wiped them
showmanship.
off, and
sure they were passed around the audience like Miss Street's glasses.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I think we should move along, shall we?
that
do it.
sounds like a good idea.
All right. We have a little field trip, as it were, to take you on that will lead us into the next segment. It was quite interesting because yesterday in our local paper there was this article about famous chefs getting tattoos. And, well, roll the film and we'll see the connection. Well, we've arrived at Reading Tattoo Company, and we're about to go in. I just wanted to do this before we went in, and I had to let you know, I normally drive myself in my de chevaux, but I felt I might be a little woozy after today's procedure, so I had Jamie, our producer, there he is behind the camera, oh, well, drive me. So, we'll see what happens. We're about to go in. Stay with us. Here, Ruben's taking me through various designs that are available at the tattoo shop. Oh, look at that one. That's fascinating. It's a dragon with a monkey's head and horns and well, possibly not for my tattoo, but he's explaining the origins of it. Oh, look, it's got a little pentagram upside down with it, but no, perhaps that's not what I want on my body. No, not even on my arm like that. No, thank you, Ruben. Now let's perhaps look at another wall and see what else there is to that we can work with. All right? Oh, there we go. Oh, look at all the color over here. Oops, there's Jamie doing an homage to Alfred Hitchcock. Hello, that's somewhat creepy, but very inventive. Well, all right, here we go. We're here inside Reading Tattoo Company, and Ruben is backstage now, designing my tattoo. It's going to have some little roses and some thorns, and the phrase Eve de Vie, which means drunken with life, which is how I choose to live my life. Drunken and lively. So, we're going to see what he comes up with, and look at all this wonderful work around me. Isn't it amazing? Hello, Jamie, again. I travel with him. I'm actually feeling a little nervous, so I'm glad I have somebody with me. One shouldn't do this alone, because it's a traumatic thing, having something put on your skin with Sharpies. So, all right, we'll see what happens when he comes up with the design. See you soon. Yeah, that's wonderful.
I'll get you to fill out a piece of paperwork, and then I'll get set up and get started.
Excellent. He's been talking to me, and could we do the lettering in red, like a deep that color type red?
Yeah, did you want to go like from the bottom, a little bit of black shading, and then into some red?
Yes.
So it's not just looking like cookie cutter.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you. To give Ruben easy access to my arm, I have changed into my lovely little green frock here. So I was just wanting you to know that, well, it wasn't another day or something. I have just changed to make things easier. Thank you. It's going to start soon. Well, here I am. I've stopped at Kirk and Jamie's house just to have a little bite to eat before I went home. But I wanted to say thank you all for coming on this journey. Look, I'm all wrapped up in my wound. My wound is wrapped up, rather. We'll unveil this soon, but you've already seen it, of course. So thank you for coming along on this journey. Be well. Love, Jane. Thank you. It was very shocking to learn that it wasn't on my wrist with permanent ink. No, it's actually needles, little needles that they do in a gun and shoot this ink into you. And look, there it is, ladies.
Oh, it's beautiful. You were obviously very brave.
Well,
didn't see any tears.
I've been through worse. So yes, it's wonderful. And there's something interesting about this article. Now, I know people go to get tattoos for various reasons. Some just because they want to be rebellious, and some because I think most people do it with something that means something to them. For instance, these cooks, a lot of them are having different cooking implements or a design of how to cut up a pig or something like that. I know. to each his own, darling. But like with this tattoo, I have a very strong affinity to France and this whole Eve de Vie and drinking. So So the whole Eve de Vie, drunken with life, means so much to me because we've all been through so much in our lives that to get through the day, one should stay drunken with life and enjoy it to the fullest. Yes, Christina over here is the tattoo master. We were actually supposed to have a mistress, rather. We were actually supposed to have Ruben come on today, but he had a tattoo emergency. Apparently, somebody asked for a butterfly, and they started to give her a fly on her butt. But he had to fix this. So, what can I say? We have Christina here, who's clearly had more experience with this than I. So, any questions for Christina here?
How many tattoos do you have?
Oh.
Well, that's an excellent question. I can't give you an exact number, actually, because I've got the beginning of a full sleeve. Okay. I have one on the inside of my arm over here. I have one on my shoulder over here. I have one right here on my chest. Okay. I have one on my foot. I have one on my hip. And on my back is a series of stars. It's very large. That's in the shape of an anchor that's also not finished. And I've had them all done at different times, though. So I've sat more times than I've actually have total tattoos because I'll go and have 3 stars done at a time and then go back and have another 3 stars done at a time. And then in the end, I've sat, 5 times for one big tattoo. So I have a lot.
One of the interesting things when I was sitting with Ruben, because we were talking, and he was explaining that when you have a large piece done, after a while your body sort of says, enough, and just when you start to get, because they have that little gun you saw, and it's shooting needles into your arm with ink on it. And so after a while, it is like an assault on your body, and your endorphins just go, whoo, for a while, and then they drop.
You crash and you burn.
Crash, and then it does get painful. One of the questions.
I think it's different for each person, what happens once your adrenaline kind of drops. And it's different each time. I've had numerous different experiences, and it depends, I think, on where it's at in your body, the location, because it hurts more in some places. Like this one that I have up on the top of my arm is it's a Mark Riding portrait painting that's been kind of altered for personal things for me. I sat for almost 6 hours for this one. And in the beginning, you're good, you're going, you're talking, and it's fine. And then eventually, for that time, my teeth started to chatter, my legs started to shake. It wasn't even that it hurt so much. My body was almost rejecting the ink. It was just like, enough, we can't take anymore. And then my cousin, who's my tattoo artist, was like, I think we're done for the day. I think you had enough. Another time, I was having the stars done on my back. I was at a tattoo convention, thousands of people in there. It's hot, I'm sweating. Apparently, I passed out and didn't even know it. I wasn't in any pain. I don't know if it's that it was just so hot and warm and I didn't have enough sugar or what, but I completely blacked out, which is extremely embarrassing when at a tattoo convention there's people just walking around and they're looking at you and all of a sudden you're like, whoops.
Well, there is something, and I found it with this, that there is something very meditative about the whole process. It's generally, if you're not talking to your tattoo artist, there were times when we stopped chattering, and you would just sort of flow into what he was doing with the buzz of the thing. The tattoo gun, is that?
Tattoo gun,
Tattoo gun. And it just became a sort of musical Zen experience of this sensation and this oral.
You're so lucky to have that, because I have never had that. I have never been zen when I've been having a tattoo, let me tell you.
Nor have
never have I been zen. I was like, are we done yet? The whole time.
How long did yours take? How long did it take to do that?
Producer, Mr. Producer, was it about an hour and a half?
Okay.
An hour and a half.
And Christina, when you had that reaction and your teeth were chattering and all that, once he stopped, how long did it take your body to get back to?
I was pretty nauseous the whole car ride home, actually, and that's never happened to me before, but I've never sat that long before either. So that was the first time that's ever happened. But once I got home and I actually had some orange juice, I was fine then. And
did you put the orange juice on the tattoo?
Absolutely. No. I need to get my blood sugar back up, I think.
No.
Something with the orange juice?
No, but I should have. Although you have to do that after because they won't tattoo you if you've been drinking.
Okay.
Indeed.
So they won't.
You talk like you've had tattoo experience.
I do have tattoo experience.
Really?
I've had 3 tattoos.
My goodness. 2
are no longer. I've had 2 removed.
Really?
Yes.
Is that difficult? Is
Yes.
it painful?
Yes. Very painful.
Does it take Is it a one-time process?
No. And there are different methods of doing it. I chose the worst because it was the cheapest. You can have it laser removed or you can have it branded, which is what I did, which is more horrible than the tattoo itself.
We have some tweets.
Oh,
We have some tweets. All
I
right.
unfortunately missed one, so I'm sorry, David Powell. I did not.
Oh, he's from
I missed that one. But David Powell
Hello,
from
David.
California.
Oh, he's from
he
California.
asks, Christina, why did you start getting tattoos? Why continue? My son continues to, because my son continues to as a tribute to his family. I started getting tattoos because I was a rebellious 18-year-old child. I started out with one tiny little tattoo, and then as I got older, they're almost addictive. I even though it's not Zen for me, I still enjoy the process. And I guess I feel like my body is my own canvas, and it's kind of like I can do what it's almost like an I can do what I want thing. So nobody can tell me no, even though I know most people, they're not always accepted. Like I know at my job I have to keep my tattoos covered at all times, which means long sleeves year round, which is not pleasant, obviously. And all of my tattoos now, except for probably the first two that I got when I was a young girl, all mean something to me and all have personal attachments that I believe in every single tattoo. And when I'm 85 years old, I can tell you right now, I don't care how stretched and wrinkly they are, I will not regret a single one. Absolutely.
Is that the normal, when people get tattoos, do they normally get things that are very meaningful, or do they go in and say, oh, I really like that butterfly with the dog's head?
That's what
There's a
the
wide
hope
range.
is.
It depends on the person. I personally, those pictures on the wall, it's called flash art.
Right.
And I personally have 2 tattoos that are flash art, and they're from when I was 18 years old. And every other tattoo that I have has been designed for me by someone. I tell them what I want, and they've gone out and they've given me what I wanted, as opposed to just picking something off the wall. Because there's nothing worse. I was probably 18 years old, and I was laying on the table and getting some tiny little butterflies on my hip bone, because when you're 18, that is what you do, apparently. And there was a girl that came in, and she was watching through the window, and she said, I want the exact same thing. And at that point in time, I said, never again will I pick something off of that wall where people can come in and just be like, because I'm getting it to almost to define myself.
Right.
This is who I am. I'm doing it to be my own person. And that was the end of the story for me. Never again did I go in there and pick anything off of a wall.
That brings up an interesting digression, but I'll go there. Just the whole idea of sort of rebelliousness, but to define your individuality, because I see these children buying clothes, say at like a Hot Topic, and they're all buying the same clothes, and it's like, you're not being rebellious. You're buying into a mass market thing, but you can't tell them that. So it's interesting to hear that that kind of philosophy over here.
And listening to you use the word rebellious, this is one of the oldest kinds of body enhancement that has existed. I mean, the Egyptians did it, the Tahitians have done it. It has been a cultural thing for a long, long time. And when you think of it that way, then it's not really a rebellion, it's a fad. It's
Indeed.
joining in with a fashion.
Right.
Indeed, or experience, because I have to say that I really did fall into sort of a, well, when he did this, he said, well, we'll leave this little area open, and then you can continue it if you want. And I thought, oh no, that's not going to happen. But once the process was over, I was thinking, oh well, maybe we could run it a little more up the arm. And so I can see how the addictiveness of the thing could be. And it is sort of creating a painting on your body that defines who you are. So I don't know that the word fad really is apt. Also, another interesting point, I saw on the TV one time, and look at me pointing towards the TV. I did see on the TV a piece on Polynesian tattooing, where they take the stick and they sort of hammer it into your back. Now, I talked to him, Ruben, about this, and he says it's a very spiritual experience, and if you want to try that, go to Polynesia, which someday I may just do. I'll go over there, but of course you can't choose the design.
Please make a video so we can show
Oh, believe me. He said you can't choose what's going to happen with them, because they do approach everything from a spiritual sort of bent, and whatever they give you, you get. Be it a tiny turtle or a full body sort of line art thing.
Could I get back to the idea of a tattoo parlor? They are not licensed, but there are regulations, there are state regulations.
I believe there are state regulations as far as an age. You have to be an adult or have a parent or guardian that's going to sign for you. I don't believe they are licensed. I think they're apprenticed by senior tattoo artists at the tattoo parlors and or shops.
Yes, Ruben was saying that that's the best way to come up in the ranks. There are, of course, there's always those few who say, "Oh, I can get a tattoo gun for $400, and I'm an artist." So
And they do it from
start
the kitchen.
doing
That's
it.
how I had my first tattoo.
But
one of
it
those.
is a learned art, and one should apprentice with more experienced people.
And these, generally, they are, I mean, really, really talented. And I don't mean, if you can imagine, if any of you, I don't know, if you sketch or if you draw, it's hard enough to draw on paper, but when you're working on someone's skin with that giant gun but the tiny needles, I mean, some of the stuff they do on like, these portraits and such, and the detailed work and the tiny little, I mean, it's amazing what they can do. Like, they're really, really talented.
It really is art, and it took me a while to come to that conclusion that it really is an art form.
Tell my mother that. She's watching at home, and I'm sure she's not. Yeah.
It is.
It is an art form. It really is.
So what is it? Oh, sorry.
Can we talk about how much it
I was
costs?
going to ask. Thank you. Thank you. I was
Absolutely.
gonna ask that too.
It depends on the artist. It depends on the tattoo artist you use. It depends on what you get. It depends if you're using colored ink or just black ink. It depends if it's big or little. I am very lucky because my cousin is my tattoo artist, so I think
Friends and family?
I get a slight discount probably. It's quite possible. But I would say honestly, on my body, I probably have at least $1,000 worth of tattoos, if not maybe more. Since I was 18 and I'm 31 years old now, mind you, so it's not like I spent like $1,000 in a year on tattoos. But I mean, over the years I spent quite an amount of money.
Investment.
Yeah, but it lasts forever. It's a gift that keeps on giving, so it's never going to go anywhere unless you're like
That's
Sheila.
exactly the point. It does last forever, and in some cases, you might not be too happy with the choice you made as an 18-year-old.
Absolutely.
And having it
my
reversed, I
situation.
understand, is even more expensive
So-
as well as
And
more
more
painful.
It's more
So
painful.
Branding, did they do something over it? Is there still ink there?
No, it's, well, I mean, the ink is there. It's just
Right.
covered in scar tissue, pretty
Okay.
much.
Oh,
Now, if you get it lasered
It's
off,
pretty brutal.
yeah.
you're going to need at least 6 sessions of sitting for the laser. You have to go back numerous times. It's extremely expensive, and depending on the color ink you have, it doesn't come out.
I
Like
heard
yellow,
red is.
Yeah, I
red
heard
is
that,
hard. I think
yes.
yellow. I can't remember if red's the hardest or if yellow and green are either really easy or really hard. But depending, most of the only color tattoos I have on my body are the ones on my arm. Everything else I have is strictly black ink
So
for
mine
that
were black.
purpose.
if
Yeah.
you're going to have a guy or a girl's name done on your body, you better really be sure it's the
Committed.
guy and girl that you're going to be committed to 50 years from now. 'Cause
Please don't do that.
Yes, I would advise never to have someone's name or face unless
it's your child.
somebody. Yes, you want to
yes. David
pay an
Beckham and
homage
his
to.
little
Never,
Brooklyn on
That's
his
very
back.
cute.
Yes.
never someone you want to. Love is fleeting.
John and Kate plus
tattoos are
8 would have had
forever.
quite a task, wouldn't
tattoos and
they?
diamonds forever.
The only tattoo that I had that's pertaining to an actual person is this one that I have on my, over here by my heart, and it's just a G clef or a treble clef with an angel wings and a halo that I got for my grandfather, who I feel like he introduced me to music and was always very supportive of my singing and my love of theater, et cetera, et cetera. So when he passed away, I did get that tattoo as a tribute to him. But again, I still didn't, even though obviously he's always going to be my grandfather, I still didn't get a name. I just chose something that I thought was symbolic for my own personal
It's meaningful
preference.
to you,
Yeah.
and you know who it's for.
Exactly. And that drives me nuts, I have to tell you. When I go out to a bar, first of all, tattoos apparently are an open invitation for people to touch you. Because they look up and be like, oh,
It's gross.
drives me nuts. And the other thing is, some tattoos I don't mind talking about. Obviously, like, well, what are those lyrics on your arm, sir? What are those words? I will absolutely tell someone. But when they come up and they're like, well, what does this tattoo mean? And you're like, well, it's kind of personal. It does have significant meaning, but I'm not really comfortable sharing it. People get, well, why? Because it's mine. Like, they don't seem to grasp
Darling,
it.
we are in the society of need to know. We
everything.
all need to know everything that's going on at the time. Look at that. I mean, you turn on the TV, everything is about, the constant Facebooking and Twittering. Have we had any more, by the way?
Not as of yet, but we do have a new follower, which is exciting.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yay.
And thank you, David, for
All the way in California.
All the way in California.
Yes.
I don't know how that all manages.
Walnut Creek, California, as
Well.
a matter of fact.
Another point that I think many people would have, and many people who are probably watching this show, is we kind of believe, and our religions have told us, that the human body is a pretty wonderful, beautiful creation. And there are religions that absolutely ban tattoos.
Yes.
The Muslim religion, Jewish religion, Mormons. And so why change this thing that is beautiful as it has been designed?
To enhance it.
I think I'm just adding beauty to it. To me, I think all of my tattoos are gorgeous. It's just like, why do people put makeup on their face?
Indeed, I would say to that, why do you go shopping and pick out a nice blouse or something like that? You're still covering that creation in something special. So that it's permanent, I don't know that it really makes that distinction. And there are some religions that actually promote, like the Polynesians, the spiritual tattooing. And
it was identification of a religion and sometimes of a class and that sort of thing. So,
Interesting.
I just want to know, you had 3, you lost 2.
Yes.
What was it that you kept, if I may ask?
I kept the one on my ankle, which is a music staff and a treble clef as well. And I could show, but I have to take off my boots in order to do it.
Oh, we don't want that.
No, we'll save that for flip-flop weather.
We've had a pajama party, and that was, yes, that was enough.
She's lying. We did have a pajama party, but there was no boot removing involved.
Yes, you and your booty pajamas.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Is there any other thoughts or questions on the?
I just question, and I don't know why this is stuck. I've been thinking about it. Parents can take children to the piercing pagoda, and I suspect there probably is an age limit under which they won't pierce children's ears, but they do it pretty
16.
young.
Yeah, they do.
Oh.
There are
They
many
do it
little
very,
children.
very young.
Oh yeah, I've seen
Euro.
babies getting pierced.
But I would think that parent taking a very young child for a tattoo would be considered abusive.
Because you're actually injecting something into the body, something
you're-
that can have.
Right. And I realize it's just a fine point that I've been thinking about abuse
I think
and what
it would
is
be,
and what isn't.
Not necessarily. Certainly, and I would probably have the same problem with piercing a young child's
Right.
ears. I didn't have mine pierced till I was able to make that decision, and I
Right.
think any alterations to one's body should be that person's choice. Now you get into the whole technical aspect, which would be if a tiny child got a tattoo, that child grows, and that tattoo is going to stretch and alter. So on many levels, I think that would be unfortunate to have that done. I would imagine that a parent would have to sign for it, and it could be done depending on the willingness of the tattoo artist, but I can't imagine that
No,
it would
I
be
can't.
advisable.
No.
Even as someone who has as many tattoos as I have, I can tell you right now, until my child is 18, I would not sign for them to have a tattoo. And if for some odd circumstance I would change my mind, I would want to absolutely have a say, not a say in, but I wouldn't want them getting a pair of Dyson Sherry's tattooed on, on their shoulder at the age of like 16, and then they're going to grow up and be like, Mom, why did you let me do that?
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? So I definitely think that even as someone who has an abundance of tattoos, I wouldn't allow my child until they're 18 adult, and I would still be like, are you sure that's what you want to get and where you want to get it? When I go to get a tattoo, it's not like I'm getting a tattoo when I go. I think about it for like a long period
And
of
you
time.
know where you want it?
I know where I want it, I know what I want to get, and if I have to have the artist redraw it 6 times until it's exactly what I want and replace it in the same spot, a little to the left, a little to the right until it's what I want, I do it because it's
permanent.
it's permanent.
You
It's
need
gonna
it to be
there
where you
forever.
want.
So-
it's not just like a flip of a hat. I'm going to go in there and do this. It's really a decision that I think about and I make.
So when you say redrawing it, you're talking about his sketching it on your arm?
They
or
sketch it on like a paper, like
Okay.
Kinda like carbon paper
like
for
a
the
temporary
skin.
tattoo paper,
Oh,
and then they
okay.
put it on and they take it
Right.
off and they let you see it to make sure that it's in the right place
you can say,
everything's.
"No, I don't
Yep,
like
and they
that."
just take
They
it
just
off
take it
and they
off.
redo it again.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you pay by the hour?
No.
Pay by the tattoo,
By
which
the
is nice.
tattoo, yeah.
And are there certain colors that fade more than others, or
I think all the colors
all
fade
fade.
equally, but if you take care of your tattoos, you won't have that problem.
And what do you have
Taking
to do
care
to take
how?
care?
Well, we'll talk about tattoo care when we come back from our short break. We'll be right back with That's What She Said.
Okay.
You're watching BCTV.org. Be informed, be involved, be a member. For membership information, go to www.bctv.org/support/membership. For other stories and information, go to bctv.org.
Welcome back to That's What She Said.
Ellen and I have been deciding whether perhaps we are going to get tattoos or not, and the jury's out.
All right. Well, let me give them some information here. You can tweet to us at the @ She Tweets to Me. You can also join us at www, not two wwws, just one, www.thatswhatshesaidonline.com, and whatever else is up there. And you can call in at 610-378-0426. I hear we do have a home caller.
Oh.
Hello?
Hello.
What?
Hi.
Welcome to That's What She Said. What's up with you this evening?
Yes, I have a tat from 1973.
Oh.
Wow.
That's...
And how's it
Wow.
holding up? Does it still look good?
Well, my daughter wanted to do it over.
Oh.
Is she a tattoo artist?
No, she wants to do it in local Avenue Township, dealer here.
Oh, so she was gonna take you somewhere, send you to someone to have them touch it up?
Yeah,
What's the tattoo of?
it's airborne from the Army.
Oh. Well, thank you for serving for us.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it had yellows and reds and blues and greens. And they said it would be like $250.
To have it redone.
To have it touched up, yeah, especially when they have to redo a tattoo. It's not necessarily a cover-up, but it's a lot more work, I think, for them actually, because they're having to,
Recreate
it's kind
it,
of like, it's like a
basically.
rehab. Like if you rehab your house, it costs more money. It's not cheap. It's an expensive habit or hobby, if you will, I guess.
But it was only $25 in 1974.
I wish it was $25 now.
It's amazing what happens in that
There's always
time.
Sharpie.
And it has
Thank you
grown
for your
larger,
call,
I'm
sir.
sure. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Jamie? Yes. Our producer, Jamie, off camera. See if you can figure out how to get the Twitter feed on here.
Please.
I'm at She Tweets to Me, but I'll just walk over here. I'm not going to throw my phone to you. My goodness. Thank you. Yes. So if you're trying to tweet us, we're untweetable at the moment.
My phone died. I'm sorry, I was ill prepared. What can I say?
So,
Yes. What about the care, the aftercare
Yes.
for a tattoo? What do you
talking
have
about
to do?
go ahead.
Take
You
care
have
of them.
much more.
It depends. Again, it's kind of like your choice of what you want to use. There's specific balms and creams and lotions that are specifically for tattoos. There's something called tattoo goo. Some people use like Neosporin and things like that. I personally just use Aquaphor. You can buy it at CVS or Rite Aid.
What is that?
Aquaphor.
Oh, Aquaphor. Oh, what's Aquaphor? To drink? Never mind.
Some people will wrap Saran wrap around it at first. They say it helps it scab over quicker, and the sooner it scabs over, the sooner the scab falls off, and the sooner it's pretty and done. After it's healed up, you still always want to put sunblock on them. The sun obviously will fade them. They're going to fade, obviously, through the years. There's no way to really stop it. You know what I mean?
But I mean, the skin sheds and ages, and the ink is eventually going to work its way out.
Other than sunblock, what do you do? Anything special for yours?
I keep myself, well moisturized generally as a whole. But really the only aftercare once you've had a tattoo is just to make sure you put sunblock on it, because the sun's going to make it fade a lot faster.
Or you'll get all these age spots.
That too.
Now, we should move. Do you have another question? I was going to say we should move on because we'd like to discuss something, take it to a little more serious avenue. We have two educators with us, and we'd like to touch a little on the role of parental involvement in education. And which of you ladies would like to?
I'm going to let Martha talk about it because she teaches a course about this.
Well, I've been a teacher for a long time, and I've taught in the public schools, and I'm now teaching at Albright College part-time, which I really enjoy. Teaching is a passion for me. I really love to teach. But one of the things that I found in all sorts of situations when I taught the Title I reading program, when I was involved with that, working with little kids who were having reading problems, in working with the gifted children at the secondary level, and working with teaching reading at the middle school, what I found was the importance of parental involvement in a child's education. All else being equal, that can be the tipping point. But what I found also was that many people are reluctant to get involved. They're not sure how. They have some negative feelings from when they were in school, things that happened to them. They don't like to go to school. They don't have time in this busy world today with two parents sometimes working 2 or 3 jobs to keep things moving. It's difficult. My whole thing is that teachers can't do it alone, and public education especially is under the gun. We need to do a better job, but we need to be sure that we involve parents and that we give them ways to be involved. And it doesn't have to be more than 5 minutes a day, sitting down with a child and letting him read to you. Maybe you can't read, or maybe you can't read that language, but by letting him know that you're interested in him reading to you, or just talking about what he did that day. I think sometimes parents say, well, I can't do his homework. I don't even understand this math that they're doing, and I certainly don't understand the way that they're doing math. But there are workshops, and I think 13th and Union just ran 13th and Green just ran a workshop that was written in the Reading Eagle last week, a parental workshop. Some parents don't have time to go to those workshops, but there are other ways we can get them involved. And what we need to do as teachers is open those lines of communication with parents. Not easy, and sometimes we just can't reach them. But I firmly believe that 99% of the parents are doing the best job they know how, and if it's not quite working, we need to help them figure out ways to get involved with their children's education.
Now, when I was growing up, my mother was single and had 2 jobs, and I have to say that she offered me as much time as she could.
Right.
And she was very involved in not necessarily doing assignments for me, but making sure I had avenues in which to pursue to learn how to do assignments.
And she made you accountable.
Indeed. I think a lot of we have become, I think, a society of lack of responsibility. And everything is going to be done for us. And
everything is someone else's fault when it doesn't happen.
Indeed.
Right.
And we've forgotten how to just sort of buck up and do it.
Right. But it takes a village, not just to raise a child, but to educate a child. And we really need to have an educational team formed with the child on the team, but the parent the parent is an integral part of that team. And it doesn't have to be terribly time consuming. As I said, we know the pressures on families today, but there are all sorts of ways that the children can get the message that their parents want them to be accountable, and in fact insist that they be accountable for what they're doing in school.
And I'm going to agree with what you both have said, and yet to many people they're going to say by parents taking more involved, being more involved in their children's education, they're kind of taking the responsibility from the children. I know that that is a perception of it. And having worked most of my teaching career with fifth graders who are wonderful, wonderful children at that age. They are old enough to be independent, to work on their own, to take responsibility, and still want to please. Right. So it's kind of an ideal student age. But when you have parents who, and I'll just give you a for instance, a parent who one day kept her son home from school because he had not had a chance to study for his science test.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
I know, but this is how it's going to be interpreted. And then brought him in at the end of the school day, took him into my room and said, okay, now he's ready to take the test. Give it to him now. Well, makeup tests are always difficult to do. So, all right, he's there. I gave it to him. He did all right. His mother watched over my shoulder as I graded it. I mean, what does that tell a child when you have parents who are invasive in the process? It's more than they're being concerned. It's kind of their job, and then it takes it away from the child. It's not the child's job then anymore.
Right. I really was talking about the idea that the parent doesn't, that the child doesn't say, well, going to school is my business and not yours, Mom. I go to school, and what I do in school is my business and not yours. And parents, there are those parents who are willing to let that happen. The other side of the coin is the helicopter parent, as you've just talked about. I think that's a helicopter parent. We need to work with the parents. They have to be, it's a teamwork effort, I think, with teachers, and we have to let, I do believe that every parent is capable of offering support to a child, whether the parent is highly educated or barely educated, whether the parent is working 3 jobs or a stay-at-home mom, and they're pretty rare today, whether the parent is this speaks the same language as being taught in the school or not. There are still ways that that parent can be involved, and we're trying to teach, and one of the things that I do in my classes is teaching people who plan to become teachers ways that they can reach out to parents and keep that line open and give them help.
I never even realized that this was an issue.
Because your parents
Because
were
my mom,
involved.
I mean, I have my mom was a single mom until I was probably, I think she married my stepfather at 16, I guess, and it was me and my sister. I went to Catholic school for 9 years, kindergarten through 8th grade, then transferred to public school. But I never even realized that, yes, your school, exactly, where you were a teacher, absolutely. But I guess I didn't even realize that people had the issue of their parents just not caring. Like even at the end, even if it was just a simple, did you do your homework? You know what I mean? It was always more than that because I was very lucky.
I don't think it's not caring. I think it's, in many cases, just not knowing.
I just can't.
But I think you were telling, I don't know if you mind telling it, but you were telling me a story a while back about something a young man said, was talking to you about it's at school. Does this ring a bell?
Keep going. I have so many stories.
I'm a couple blocks. About the lunch programs and never mind.
Maybe it wasn't I.
No, it was you, but
I don't remember.
we're getting to that age when things just go out of our heads.
We are.
And parents are being invited into the schools for more and more things like that, like lunchtime and as aides and special programs and that sort of thing. I think schools are making every effort to...
I think so. The thing that has been the stumbling block, though, recently, or in the last 10 years, has been the security. because in many schools, and certainly in my district, you can't get past the front desk without your 3 clearances, no matter who you are. And parents don't get into the classrooms anymore.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. We can't send student teachers out without those clearances. If they don't have them, they don't student teach.
I keep thinking how my grandmother would come in and volunteer in my classrooms when I was in grade school all the time. She would come in like twice a week and help with our art projects or volunteer with the reading or the math projects, and she was there all the time.
It's not like that anymore.
Now you can understand why it
I
isn't
can
that
absolutely
way
understand.
anymore.
But it has put up that
barriers.
barrier for many parents that find schools rather intimidating to begin with.
Plus, we've just all gotten too darn busy.
Oh, we have, exactly.
So you don't take time to just slow down and smell the flowers,
Right.
because it's important that we do that, and the more help we can give to the people that we love, and I think this is an important thing to get to here as we end our little session here. There's that song, "Every time it rains pennies from heaven," and you know you got to pick those pennies up and do something nice with them.
Right.
Because, and I think the most important thing, and I'm babbling here, and I know it, and I just love babbling, but there's some gold in that dross. We have to learn to be good to ourselves, because if we're not good to ourselves, we can't be good to other people. And we don't do it alone. Nothing we do, I mean, I'm here with you 4 wonderful women, and thank you. This has been That's What She Said. You can find us online at www.that'swhatshesaidonline.com and Twitter at @sign. I love the @sign. She tweets to me. It's been a wonderful experience being here with you all. I hope that you have us back, and how we're doing on that knitting.
Getting there. I had to backtrack, but I'm going.
We're going to 5.
All right.
The whole show has been archived in her.
There we go. And we thank you for coming.
Madame
Have a
Defarge.
good night, and we all say thank you and love.
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you.